Hello and welcome back to Enlighten Us Arabic. You are joining us for lesson 34 and today we are revisiting verb form 2 but with the focus on al-asma. Now let's remind ourselves of the previous example. So for verb form 2 we looked at the first example, علم, يعلم, علم, علم, يعلم. And then the asma, معلم, معلم, تعليم. And that is going to be our focus for this lesson. We're going to be expanding on the asma. So let's get started, inshallah. Before we start, what we're going to do today is something slightly different. Rather than have a look at the definition of each single word, I'm going to provide you with the overarching definition for the verb form. So in this case, the overarching meaning is to teach, instruct, brief, to train, school, educate, or to designate, mark, earmark, provide with a distinctive mark, or put a mark on. Now let's have a look at our asma with this definition in the back of our minds. So we're going to start with the ism fa'il and do revisit previous lessons to remind yourself of the ism fa'il and how it works. Now we are expanding on the original word mu'allimun. So we have mu'allimun, mu'alliman, mu'allimin, mu'allimani, mu'allimaini, mu'allimaini, mu'allimuna, mu'allimina, mu'allimina, معلمات معلماتن معلمات معلمتان معلمتين معلمتين معلمات معلمات معلمات. Now if you're curious where these words have come from, it's worth going back and revisiting the lessons that we looked at on the characteristics of the ism. But as a reminder and as a bit of a summary, let's remind ourselves that the ism has 4 characteristics. So we've got gender, number, definiteness, and state. And each one of these words is a different combination. So for instance, on this side, as designated by the M, this side is the masculine versions of mu'allimun. This side, on the other hand, is designated by the F, and we can use the key to decipher this. These are the feminine versions. So if we take the word mu'allimun, which if you remember from the definition, one of the meanings is to teach. So if we take the ism fa'il as teacher, this side are all the male or masculine rather versions. So this is one teacher, this is the jewel, our second column here is the jewel, so it's 2 teachers. And if you remember with the plural, so our third column here is the plural, this is 3 or more. So the 2 in Arabic is designated by the or is designated as a jewel. 3 or more is our plural, and you can use the key there to figure out the different version of the word. Now let's move on to our second type of ism. So if you recall, we also looked at the ism maf'ul. Let's expand on the ism maf'ul. So let's start off with mu'allamun, mu'allaman, mu'allamin, mu'allamani, mu'allamaini, mu'allamaini, mu'allamuna, mu'allamina, mu'allamina, mu'allamatun, mu'allamatan, mu'allamatin, mu'allamatani, mu'allamataini, mu'allamataini, mu'allamatun, mu'allamatin, mu'allamatin. And what we have here are the different version of the word mu'allamun based on the characteristics of the ism. So from previous lessons, you'll remember that the ism has 4 characteristics: gender, number, definiteness, and state. And these are the different versions of the word based on these characteristics, with the exception of definiteness, because all of these words are common. Please do go back and have a look at previous lessons on how to make an ism proper. Right, let's move on. Now let's have a look at the masdar. So the word that we're expanding on is ta'lim, ta'limun. One of the things to note with the masdar is that to pluralize, we have to use the feminine plural. So you have, when expanding on the masdar, a smaller set of words. So we have ta'limun, ta'liman, ta'limin, ta'limani, ta'limaini, ta'limaini, ta'limatun, ta'limatin, ta'limatin. And here's our key again with those characteristics to be able to understand what we're looking at in terms of the ism. So let's remind ourselves of our second example. Lakhasa, yulakhisu, lakhis, lukhisa, yulakhasu. And then the asma, mulakhisun, mulakhasun, talkhisun. And again, the focus in this lesson is to expand on the isms. So let's start, as we did before, with our dictionary definition. So again, using the Hansware here of this, the verb form here for lakhasa. So again, the full sort of definition to abridge, summarize, sum up, epitomize, condense, compress, exert, make an excerpt or an extract, give the essence of something, to sketch, to outline. So essentially that's what the encompassing meaning is. Now let's have a look at our ism fa'il. So again, we are expanding on the word mulakhisun. So mulakhisun, mulakhisan, mulakhisin, mulakhisani, mulakhisaini, mulakhisaini, mulakhisuna, mulakhisina, mulakhisina, mulakhisat, mulakhisatan, mulakhisatin, mulakhisatani, mulakhisataini, mulakhisataini, mulakhisatun, mulakhisatin, mulakhisatin. And again, this expansion has come by providing the various versions of the word based on the characteristics. So again, if you have a look, this is our masculine side, this is our feminine side. These words here are the singular, the dual, the plural. Similarly, these are the singular, these are the dual, these are the plural. Our top row is the rafa' version, our middle row is the nasab, and the last row is the jar. The thing to note here is that all of the words are common, and where they would be proper, do go back and revise the previous lesson on this. Now let's have a look at the ism maf'ul. The word that we're expanding on is mulakhasun. So mulakhasun, mulakhasan, mulakhasin, mulakhasani, mulakhasaini, mulakhasaini, mulakhasuna, mulakhasina, mulakhasina, mulakhasatun, mulakhasatan, mulakhasatin, mulakhasatani, mulakhasataini, mulakhasataini, mulakhasatun, mulakhasatin, mulakhasatin. And again, let's remind ourselves of the characteristics of the ism, so the gender, the number, definiteness, and state. And what you'll notice is that each one of these words is a different variation based on each of those states. Now let's move on. And if you'll notice with the masdar, so we've got talkhis or summary. And again, when you want the plural, you use the feminine plural. So we have talkhisun, talkhisan, talkhisin, talkhisani, talkhisaini, talkhisaini, تلخيصات تلخيصات تلخيصات. The reason for this, the reason why you use the feminine is because the masdar is the idea. The masdar doesn't refer to a person, rather the masdar is the root idea, if you like, or the origin idea behind all of the verbs and all of the isms. It doesn't refer to the person, so therefore you have to, when you pluralize, you have to pluralize using the feminine. And we have looked at this a little bit in some of this idea of when you're talking about a non-human. We have talked about it in some of our other lessons, especially on the demonstrative pronouns and relative pronouns. We've talked about this idea, but we'll look at it in much more detail in exercise lessons, and we'll look at it in the context of examples. We have come to the end of the lesson. Thank you for joining us, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and see you in the next one, inshallah.